Okay, so a massive legal battle just came to a close, and the outcome? Well, it could literally change our relationship with social media forever. We're going to break down what happened in this landmark ruling that just found some of the biggest names in tech liable for causing harm.
Right. So after 9 long days of deliberations, a jury in Los Angeles dropped a bombshell verdict. They found that two tech giants, Meta and YouTube, were liable for negligence. This is a huge deal, folks. The entire tech world was watching this case, holding its breath.
And the initial price tag? $3 million in damages. But get this, that was just for a single plaintiff. As we're about to find out, this is probably just the tip of the iceberg. So you might be asking, $3 million for what exactly? Well, the whole case hinged on a claim of social media addiction. At the center of it was a 20-year-old woman who argued that using these platforms as a teen got her hooked, and the jury actually agreed, finding that the design of the apps themselves was negligent and caused her real harm.
Yeah, this was no quick decision. The jury spent a staggering 44 hours going back and forth on this. And what's really interesting is they had to judge Meta and YouTube totally separately, so it was almost like they were running two different trials at the exact same time. All right, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of what the jury found. First, they said both Meta and YouTube were negligent in how they designed their platforms. Second, they agreed that this design directly caused harm to the plaintiff, who we only know as KGM. It's that direct line from design to harm that makes this a genuine landmark case.
Of course, you can bet the tech giants had something to say about this. They weren't just going to stay quiet. Right after the verdicts came down, both Meta and YouTube put out their official statements.
Meta's response was, well, pretty much what you'd expect from a massive corporation. Classic corporate legal speak. They said they respectfully disagree and are evaluating legal options. And we all know what that's code for. You better believe we're appealing this.
YouTube's response, on the other hand, was a real head-scratcher. They're also planning to appeal, sure, but then they added this totally bizarre claim that they don't see themselves as a social media site. I mean, what? That is a fascinating, if a little weird, defense strategy. We'll have to see how that one plays out. Okay, remember that $3 million figure we were talking about? Turns out that was just the appetizer. That money was for what they call compensatory damages, just to cover the harm done. But the trial wasn't over. Next, the jury had to decide on something potentially way, way bigger: punitive damages. So what are punitive damages? Well, the clue is right there in the name. Their goal is to punish. This isn't about paying the victim back. This is about sending a message so loud and clear, not just to these two companies, but to the entire industry, that this kind of thing can't happen again. But here's the thing. The bar for getting punitive damages is incredibly high. To get them, the lawyers had to prove with clear and convincing evidence that the companies acted with malice. Essentially, they had to prove the companies knew their platforms could cause harm, and they went ahead anyway. That is a really tough thing to prove in court. And yet, they did it. This is the truly explosive part of the verdict. The jury came back and said, yep, that incredibly high standard was met. They found that Meta and YouTube did act with malice. For a jury to say that is a tremendous blow, and it just swung the door wide open for some potentially massive financial punishment. Now, this finding of malice goes way beyond just this one courtroom in California. This decision, it could be the first major crack in the legal dam that critics of big tech have been waiting to see break for years. Now, to really get the full picture here, it helps to look at another verdict that dropped just a day earlier, because it's easy to get them mixed up. Meta got hit with a $375 million penalty in New Mexico, but these were very different cases. The LA case was a single person suing both Meta and YouTube for negligent design. The New Mexico one, that was the entire state suing only Meta for a whole list of things, including failing to protect kids. So why does this one LA verdict matter so much? Because of this number. There are over 1,500 similar lawsuits just sitting there waiting in the legal system. And you can bet the lawyers in every single one of those cases are studying this outcome very, very closely right now. Look, for years and years, big tech has been protected by this kind of legal shield, largely immune from liability for how their platforms are actually designed. Well, this verdict just took a sledgehammer to that shield.
For the first time, a jury has definitively said that a platform's design can be negligent and cause real-world harm, which leaves all of us with the billion-dollar question. Is this the beginning of the end for big tech's immunity?